There are times when we're watching a movie and we're expecting an outcome. We're given a familiar setup. A murdered man is given one last chance for vengeance, or two characters happen to meet. They seem to have this connection. Perhaps they'll meet again. A young apprentice, a young warrior, a young Jedi training to fight against the evil Lord of the Galaxy. All of these premises for a story we're pretty sure we know the ending to. You probably had an idea of what the ending might be from the very beginning. But every now and again, there's a story that changes it, that kind of relies on this expectation of this. Our expectation that we know how it's going to end, and it takes that in stride and plays with it. It twists it in a way we didn't see coming. And this is something we'll take a look at looking at Quentin Tarantino's movie, Inglourious Bastards. I still remember that feeling when I first saw the movie and the plot just went completely sideways. I didn't see the twist because I had this understanding that's not how stories like this go. So let's take a look how he did it and why it works. And these stories work because the ending, everything leading up to the ending and the ending itself is satisfying, and audiences feel happy and good about the story and, as a result, themselves and our own lives. And we, the audience, we can look on from the outside and know that these stories work because of how often these stories are repeated. Again, the vengeance story, two characters who happen to meet and fall in love, and a training arc, a young warrior, a young professional, a young boxer, any of these fill in the blank training, and we're waiting and looking forward to see all of this training come to fruition. And what the writer's doing here is taking this trope or common plot and playing on the audience's expectations. If we see a scene of horrific violence where a character's entire family is killed and they alone escape, or they manage to escape, we expect them to come back. We want them to come back. It's satisfying. It's engaging. We've seen the lows, and now we want to see the highs, the journey and the progress, the evil villain punished for their actions. We want to see true love triumph for all this hard work that the main characters has put in to pay off. We want the struggle for our characters to be worth it. But let's say for our story, it's not a matter of training. The villain is too powerful and intelligent, and so we need to create a character who's their match. We need a character who can do what needs to be done. And the main character, the singular hero we may have chosen, maybe that's not enough, or maybe they need to team up with this new character. And so we expect this character to come into play, in a big way. They're experienced, a master, and we're willing to wait for their big moment, this moment that we're expecting to come. And in this story, in Inglourious Bastards, Michael Fassbender's character comes in. He speaks German flawlessly. He's trained in, the history of cinema. He's a master spy. He's cool, smooth, collected, and ready to lead this infiltration mission against the Nazi high command. And we've been given this resume, and like the other stories, we have a buildup, and now we're watching for that payoff. And it also feels like we've seen this movie before. A World War II movie where the heroes rise up against the evil Nazis and a master plan comes together. A ragtag group of men rise up to do what needs to be done. And all of this is coming into play. And again, to Michael Fassbender's character, we're ready to see this master spy in action, and we're motivated by all that you would expect. At the beginning, we had the horrors of the SS. We have this potential, all the lives to be saved by ending the war. And after all, it's Hitler. Who doesn't hate that guy? Who doesn't want to see him get what's coming to him? And now we come to this bar scene, and our master spy is meeting his contact, the beautiful movie actress Bridget von Hammersmark, who will get them into this elite party of the Nazis with all the top brass so that they can have this moment. They can have this chance to wrap the war up, or at least to do a lot of damage. And at this point, we, the audience, have this clear expectation for where this story is going. There's this setup. We had our setup. We've got everything we need, and all this builds up to the ultimate payoff. But this is where Tarantino shines in his writing. He knows what we're thinking at this point. He's expecting it. So he turns the table. The master spy is found out, and it's horrific. everything we've built up to this scene is just completely gone. And this includes the side characters. Just, he's written up, the bartender, his daughter, the German soldier who's just found out he's a father, everyone dead. And the question is, of course, now when the dust settles, what happens? Because after all, we're trying to scramble to understand at this point, because this is not how the story should be going. It should be going differently. We had a master plan. We had the master spy. And now what? It's everything we thought is completely wrong. And this is the tricky part. Now what? Because we've got a lot of movie to go, and Hitler's alive, Aldo's alive, and miraculously Bridget's also alive. And we now have to, craft together the semblance of a plan. But more importantly, we as the audience, as we're watching this unfold, we have no idea what's going to happen now. And the movie we thought we were watching has changed completely, and everything's been turned on its head. This is no longer that type of World War II movie. And at this point, now we're also watching for a different reason. We want to see how it ends. We had an idea of how the movie was going to end, how the story was going to end, what was going to happen to the good guys and the bad guys. But now that's been completely tossed up. And it's this way that Tarantino really helps keep the audience engaged and makes them uncomfortable in different ways. So we want to see what's happening. We're waiting, and it's also building towards the film's finale, and the final twist. Because this is the other thing. We're expecting main characters to die at this point as well. The good plan got scrapped, so now we're at the bad plan. And this is getting real dicey. And it's also clear that no one is safe. And most important of all, we don't know what's going to happen. It's possible the good guys don't win. They don't always win. And the story has completely entered another realm. It's no longer that World War II movie that we think we knew. And this prepares the audience so well for this scene, because it's not, it's not your grandfather's World War II movie. Because after all, Hitler doesn't die like that. He gets away. He should get away. It's like watching that movie Valkyrie play out. We knew the ending from the beginning, and yet for this movie, when we had an idea, we had this understanding of where it was going to go, it completely twisted before, and now we're completely twisting it even more. And you see, the first time I watched this, I kept waiting for the moment when Hitler would escape. They would take him out, and security smuggles him out, Mr. President, get down, and they get him out to safety, and all the heroes die. After all, we think this is that type of movie, but then bam, we're hit by that second, another twist. And this is done to get the audience in the right position. You really can't skip straight from here to here. It'll feel completely silly. It feels like we've missed a step. And that's why these story steps are so important. The intro scene with Hans Landa helps completely solidify how terrifying and evil the Nazis are, which serves to convince the audience that there are consequences in this world, and that winning and losing really matter. So now we want to win. We want our guys to win. We start building a team, Ocean's 11 style, a team of heroes, best of the best, everything like that. And they have a great shot of dealing this massive blow to the Germans. Then this happens. And now we still want to win, but we're not sure how. We don't know what's going to happen. In fact, we have no idea how the character is going to do this, and this prepares us for what's to come. Not only prepares us for shooting Hitler, but it also gives us an understanding that in order to win, the good guys may have to die. And even winning isn't a given. Even we should expect them to die, which means when the big moment comes, it's this relief, it's this surprise, it's this, if you will, powder keg. Despite the odds, the good guys win. And even if it's not that perfect, satisfying ending in that Betty Crocker old-fashioned American style way, we'll take it. Because, given the moment, like Shoshana, we'll take whatever vengeance we can get.
Shoshana.
Hey everyone, thanks for watching. This is Fiction Applied, and I'm Jeff Cassidy. Please let me know down in the comments below what you thought of Inglourious Bastards and that twist and all those different moments. Please let me know what you think. I do read all the comments, and I really appreciate it. Also really helps in the algorithm, so please absolutely let me know what you think, and give that video a like, and I will see you guys in the next one.